Good morning, Superkickin and Steven fans, right here at our new time, 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Greg is going to be rolling in here soon, any minute, so we'll bring him on as soon as he jumps on. We got a lot to talk about. We got some NXT releases, which, when you really look at them, probably surprising, but not surprising. I know that's talking out both sides of my mouth, but that's okay. Also, the Royal Rumble matches have been kind of streaming in. We got the women's side, about 20 women announced, with a couple of surprising names. Probably one that's very surprising, and we'll see if that leads to anything. So here he is, the man of the hour. Bring on Greg right there, side by side. How are you doing, my man?
Yo, Steven, hey, what's good, brother? I'm chilling, man.
Well, I guess we did that last week. Happy New Year again.
Happy
I think
New Year to you.
I think the cutoff has already run by. It's what date? You're supposed to be done by January 3rd, right? Is that the cutoff?
I heard anytime during the first week is okay.
Okay. Then
But,
we're okay. This is
yeah.
officially that. So yeah, just kind of rolling through. I got us something nice and easy here, Greg, to help us talk up stuff. Boom! Look at that. Production value has gone up in 2022. So this is
All
what we're
right.
calling a segment called Old News, because it's already kind of happened. People have made their takes on it, Greg. We have not made our takes on it. I mentioned right in the little opening that these cuts, yes, they're surprising, but if you look at the names, they are Triple H's men. So if I'm Shawn Michaels right now, Greg, I'm having my phone blocked from every single WWE number. If I'm Io Shirai, I'm thinking Ciampa's done anytime soon. I heard he wrestled a dark match last night, but that doesn't mean much because Johnny Gargano and Kyle O'Reilly wrestled dark matches as well, and we saw what that meant. So Pete Dunne, Oney Lorcan's gone. You already got a lot, I don't know where Raquel Gonzalez falls, Greg. Do you put her in the newer class? Do we put her in that old NXT brand? I mean, I think she's okay. She's safe. Maybe her and Dakota Kai are kind of those gatekeepers. I mean, we saw Tuesday night with Braun Breaker winning. They are ready to move into this new era. And I hate it because it does kind of make you long for the old black and gold, Greg. At the same time, I've said as well that if you're going to go new and fresh, then you got to get rid of old and I'm not going to say stale because I don't think they're stale. But at the same time, you got to get rid of those guys. So we look at these names. This isn't I forget if there was other names mentioned, but Danny Burch, who was part of, the McAfee crew. He was teaming with Oney Lorcan for a little bit. Tag team champions at one time. You got Timothy Thatcher, Greg, who is undefeated in the pit fights. So maybe he can carry that, to elsewhere. This is where we get the big name, William Regal. Every single superstar from NXT, past, present, future, we're thinking William Regal. And even he had, I know some people were going to be mad that he had the whole, I'm not going to go say a bad word about them. I'm giving my props. They helped me at a time when I needed it, in late 90s, early 2000s. I mean, you look at him then and now, I mean, you could see he was definitely going through some stuff back then. I mean, his body language, his body wasn't there. So, they definitely helped him. Road Dogg, he has a lot of hot takes politically wise, Greg, that I always like, okay, dude, just go get your MAGA hat on and move on. And then, of course, Samoa Joe released for the second time, which just makes us happy, Greg, because, Tony Khan has his checkbook out, is ready for, 30 days? I don't know. Who knows what these contracts are to write that check, back up the Brinks truck, get on a flight to wherever Samoa Joe lives and say, come on out. And we're chomping at the bit for that to happen. So it's good for them. I mean, now they get, he probably is even talking to William Regal the next 30 days, as a backstage, producer, agent, whatever. I mean, and that's the thing too. Who knows? Maybe William Regal could be brought back as some sort of extra, but it doesn't surprise me because of Triple H's men, which are most of these guys are. I don't know. I wonder what it means for Triple H coming back, when he's ready to be back, handling NXT. Is he even going to have any hands-on approach? So have at it, Greg. Give us your own hot spit old take fire on this.
Yeah, man. If I was Triple H, when I come back and see what they've done to my brand, I would be hot. Um, like you said, these are all Triple H's lieutenants right here, and they may not have been very valuable in front of the camera. Danny Burch was good for what he was given,
Yeah.
and when he had the chance to really get some spotlight on him, he ran with it. I mean, his part of the McAfee crew, he was believable. They looked like hooligans, and that's what they wanted. Him and Oni Lorcan had some classic matches before they became tag team partners. They had that best of three or best of five, I forgot which one it was, but they had a series of matches that were knockdown, drag out slugfest, and they were awesome. So, he didn't look like a traditional superstar, but he could out wrestle any superstar on the main roster with the time and creative ability to have a good match. So, I'm looking forward to him going somewhere else and really being able to show that side of himself that he really wasn't given much room to do in NXT. Same for Timothy Thatcher. I mean, we didn't see much of him, but he came in the same way, kind of hard-nosed European strong style wrestler, and that's how it came across. Those pit fights were excellent with Ciampa and I think Pete Dunne. Great matches. And so it's a shame they didn't capitalize on that because, that was a unique thing that they hadn't done before. And they did that just for him, and he was making it work. Those matches were excellent. So I'm disappointed they didn't go forward with that. Regal, like you said, everybody backstage, there's not a bad word about him. Advanced the careers of the NXT talent that aside from this group, they all love him. And he was valuable for his experience, for his wisdom, and what he was willing to pass on to the new generation. So that's probably the biggest shock on this list. We knew Samoa Joe was coming. After he won the title, he disappeared right away, and we haven't heard from him since. So, like you, I've been waiting for him to just, finally get his walking papers so he could go to AEW and start killing it out there, because I have no doubt that eventually, or in a month's time, Samoa Joe will be all elite. He'll pop up on TV and choke out Cody Rhodes. So, you want to come in AEW, get over big, you go get Cody. Road Dogg, probably the most valuable backstage agent back there. Valuable for helping, especially the tag teams, put together excellent matches. And all the interviews I've heard with the former wrestlers, they have had nothing to say but good things for Road Dogg, how valuable he was backstage. And so, that's taken away from this new crop. You want these green guys in the back in NXT 2.0 to really shine, and you're taking away one of their biggest tools to be able to hone their craft. Keeping these old heads around is beneficial. I don't know who else you got back there. You're kicking the most valuable ones off the show already. So it's disappointing seeing this list. I know there was a big backlash through social media about Road Dogg specifically for those reasons. And, same for Regal. So it's disappointing to see their, Happy New Year, here's your walking papers. Yeah. And it's baffling to me. So it further proves my point that this year WWE will be sold to whomever, and hopefully we'll get just a fresh start with the company, on all three levels.
Well, on your point about who's back there now, like Is it just Vince and Tony Khan? Are they using main roster heads? Like, there's got to be some voices back there that have to help, because William Regal and Triple H, they were the PC guys. I mean, they brought that from literally from the ground up. And I guess part of it's like, well, now that there is a new crop, if you want to start fresh, then start fresh. So that's why I'm probably talking out both sides of my mouth, where I understand it. It still sucks because, like you said, especially right after the new year, and we just saw pictures of Samoa Joe at the latest tryouts, like taking notes, and we saw William Regal there taking notes. It's like, if I'm then, I'm like, oh, shove those notes in my pocket, go, But you just wonder who are those new agents and producers, that are back there. I mean, there's also Scott Armstrong, who is a big road agent. I wonder if I think Fit Finley's been gone. I mean, if he's not, then he better block all calls from Stamford, Connecticut as well. But and then wrestlers wise, like I said, I'll be just interested to see, like a woman like Dakota Kai and Raquel Gonzalez, because they're that weird stopgap where they weren't really black and gold necessarily, but they're not also the new, but Io Shirai, I mean, I don't know why she has, and at this rate, you have to call her up, and kind of let her run. So, but speaking of women, we got this nice graphic yesterday night. So I called this not so old news, Greg, because it was broken last night. So we're looking at, at the women, Charlotte Flair announcing herself, kind of going Brock Lesnar style, that she wants to enter. You got 24 champion Dana Brooke. We got Rhea. We got Natalya, Shotzi, Aaliyah. And then we got the back, Summer Rae, which she wanted to make this Danielle is her real name. She was on Instagram saying she actually wanted this to come later, but the cat came out of the bag. We got the Bella twins. No surprise there, Greg. I see Nikki Bella. She's been trying to get back in ring shape. Brie Bella, whatever. You got Michelle McCool. You have Lita. You have Kelly. But, Greg, way back there is Impact's knockout champion, Mickie James. So after all the chaos, getting her stuff in the trash bag, she didn't necessarily disparage their name, but she said, I want to prove myself outside the box. And she did that with the NWA all women's pay-per-view that they did sometime last year. Current women's champion or knockout champion, she faces Deonna Purrazzo tonight. And that's another name, Greg. I'm like, if I'm Deonna, I'm thinking, what about me? Or Chelsea Green? Those names that got cut last year. Some people, for me, it feels weird. Like, yes, this knocks down a door, because they even mentioned it by name. They said Impact Knockout Champion. They didn't just say Mickie James will be joining us. So it feels like this is just a test of the waters. Like, can Scott D'Amore, can Vince McMahon, Tony Khan really work together? And, I would love to see Moose, who's the current Impact Wrestling champion, go against Roman. I think that's dying for something, and, other names to kind of get their name out there. But so it does feel like a one-off, but could lead to other doors, other people coming through that door. But this is, a step in the right direction if it works out. If it doesn't, then it's just a one-off, and Mickie got to get a paycheck and go back to Impact to do her thing. And, some people tweeted out, Greg, who wouldn't fault her for that? And yes, she got screwed in a way, but at the same time, she gets to come back, get some pomp and circumstance, I'm sure, and, maybe represent Impact Wrestling on a WWE. They're calling it Premium Live Event now. I don't know if you've heard I'm sure you've heard that name mentioned. So no more pay-per-view, but Premium Live Event, which we'll have to say eventually. But so that's the name, Greg, that I want to hear, of course, your fire on Mickie James joining the Women's Royal Rumble.
This is all what we've been talking about all year with all these releases and women who are in other places now, such as Ruby Soho, who would be a nice image on this screen right here. The Iconics would be a nice image on this screen right here. they've really diluted their talent pool to the point where they have to go out and bring all these old heads in from days gone by. I mean, Summer Rae, the millennials have no idea who Summer Rae is.
Mm.
If you're 20 to 25, you haven't even seen her wrestle yet. Um, Lita, I'll take seeing Lita in the ring anytime, but the
Yeah.
millennials don't know who Lita is. And the demographic that you want to care about this, the 18 to 35s, the one end of this, say 18 to 25s, they don't know who about a quarter of this screen is because they've never seen them wrestle live. They're pretty faces, but they've never seen what they can do in the ring like we have.
Yeah.
So I like seeing these blasts from the past back in the match. But A, we know they're not going to win. B, it's just showing how shallow the women's division is, how shallow they've made it. It's not the ladies' fault that they're cutting so many people and they're not giving time to the women on the roster who deserve it. Mickie James, I was shocked as you were when I heard not only that she was in the match, but they referred to her as the Impact Women's Champion. And I hope that this is a sign of Vince having some flexibility as far as, the forbidden door and, working with other promoters to help his product because, at this point, that's the only card you haven't played. Watching the women's matches now is kind of your bathroom break match unless one of the four horsewomen are involved in it. So that's pretty much where we're at now. But I'm happy to see Mickie in it. Ideally, she would be one of those who ends up in the final five, final four. When it's coming down to it, who's going to win, who's going to get that championship match. That way, Mickie could go back onto Impact and go, I'm such a big deal that they called me for the Royal Rumble and I was one of the last women standing kind of thing, cut that kind of promo. And, if Impact's doing Vince a solid by letting Mickie come over, he can do them a solid by letting Mickie get a late entry and be one of the final ladies standing. So it's very interesting for that aspect. And this is half the field. And so, well, over half the field, there's 30 women. This is about 20 of them.
So you wonder if he'll be like returned from injuries, and we don't see Bianca Belair there. I
Right.
don't think Bayley will be ready. I think Bayley needs to just take, let the knee or whatever get back. Now Sasha, there's a name. You wonder if she'll be a surprise. And then
True.
we got 2 or 3 NXT. Like I said, Dakota, Raquel.
I believe they both will be in it. Yeah.
Yeah. And
Io. Io should be in it as well.
So there's, that's about, but is this Charlotte's to lose? Do you think they'll go that route? And I mean, you're already giving Charlotte everything anyway. So you almost feel like you might just play it up that Charlotte gets to pick her challenger just as something different for WrestleMania.
I don't like it. I think it's gonna be one of those big show moments where everybody just gangs up on her and throws her out in mass. Yeah.
And then you still have it open for whoever you want, because that's the thing. Like right now, with the Toni Storm situation, which they didn't even bring it up that she faced her twice. We still don't know what's going on with that. I wonder, Greg, if they're trying to settle it somehow, like get her back on the right page, because like you said, we're really thin in the women's division now. you need any hand on deck. So I just wonder if they are trying to get something worked out, get her back on the right page. But, we had Naomi come out and challenge her last night. Naomi challenged Charlotte, which that's a WrestleMania match right there. So, and, oh, by the way, and, we didn't even, Sonya Deville, does Sonya enter herself and eliminate Naomi maybe? Because we still have that. which happens first, Greg? Veer to Raw or Sonya and Naomi match? Because right now, both are about as long as the day is long, or whatever that saying is. So, yeah, I mean, and like you said, it's almost like a third is current, a third of the roster is the old, divas, women's divas champions type style. I wonder Maurice, now that she's back in the fold, you wonder if she might throw herself in there. But the Mickie James is really, like I said, I think it's a testing of the waters. And you think if, like you said, being one of the last 5 or 6, like you think she's going to be positioned highly, or why does she even come back, or why does Scott D'Amore, even allow her to do that? So, that's got to be a good sign, but we'll see how it all plays out. So, so that was my old news and not so old news. Did you have any other news, Greg, that I might have missed that you caught your eye that you want to throw out to the fold?
Yeah, you saw the little clip I sent you over during this week with Tony Storm's. She definitely took some shots fired at Charlotte for, she sounded really fed up about, having to put over Charlotte in the ring and then having to bow down to her backstage, or Charlotte leaving that impression that the whole locker room has to bow to her. She said it in very plain English, so I was
I'll
very
bring up that picture real quick so we can see. I mean, she had to miss her nephew's circumcision, Greg. I mean, that's okay. So that's really not a very good picture, is it? Because it's very far away. But anyways, hopefully you guys could see that. So but so do you think like I've said, I wonder if they might just be like trying to settle something, or do you think she's done for good, like with WWE?
It could be. I mean, it's one of those things that they do when there's backstage beef, and they let it kind of fester and get some momentum of its own, and then they bring it back on screen. So it happened with Charlotte and Becky, but that whole mess with the title exchange and all that stuff. There's been a couple other times where it's happened, and this looks like one of those cases where they could settle it backstage and then bring it on stage and give it that extra realness that a lot of the WWE feuds are missing. So I definitely can see that happening. Then Toni Storm comes out, and they've repackaged her. She has a different look. She has a different aura. Yeah, exactly. And she looks more fierce. She looks angry, and she doesn't look happy to be there. She's got an axe to grind, and she's gonna take somebody's head off. It's definitely doable. So I can definitely see her being
that she needs, and let her kind of have at get mentally back.
Yeah, or give her pipe bomb time. Let her come out with a mic and just go off as long as she wants to, and that'll really get some heat. So I can definitely see her popping up in the Rumble. Also, we saw on Raw they bring up Alexa Bliss's journey back. So I think she's going to be one of the ladies we see pop up. It culminates with right on time, a few weeks until the Rumble, and it's enough time to, tell the story and then have her pop up, in the Rumble. And I haven't seen what's going on with my hot Asian girlfriend, but this would be a great time to bring her back in. So, Asuka.
I saw go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah, Asuka, I need her back in my life on the screen, and this would be a good time to see her. Nobody's talked about her. She hasn't been on social media very much, and she would be a great surprise, and the crowd would really pop for her. So I'm hoping that she's in there. So there's that last 10 spots that are pretty open, and I think that's where we're going to find our winner. It's not going to be Charlotte, but I think that last 10 spots where we're going to find our winner.
Yeah, that's what I like, and we got to leave some surprises because that's the best part of the Royal Rumble. Here's a hot take kind of question. Do you think any of the Divas women that are announced will show up on TV before the Rumble, Greg? So, like you said, some people can at least see, maybe not wrestle, but at least see who they are. Like Summer Rae, we haven't seen her in a few years. I think it was Kelly was in last year's. Were the Bella Twins in last year's, or they were in a couple years ago? I think. I know they've been on recently. They were in last year. Yeah. Lita's Lita. But do you think we see any of those kind of Divas Divas era show up on TV before then?
Absolutely. Especially, you give them a moment where Becky or Charlotte are in the ring bragging on themselves. They're both representing heels, and it's a perfect time for one of those babyface divas from back in the day to pop up. You do your traditional, I've beaten all these women, yada yada, and boom, Lita's music hits. Boom, Kelly's music hits. It's a perfect opening because all these babyface divas from back in the day, they can come out, have their moment, and have their holy crap moment in front of, especially if it's somebody bigger, like Lita, like Mickie James, and
I was gonna say, does Mickie show up before the Rumble?
Right, that would be fun. That would really be fun. It would really.
Does it ruin? Would it ruin it? Like, or do you think it would also show that maybe there's more that could be out there? Like maybe that shows that they're willing to work together. Because if you get her on Raw or SmackDown and the Rumble, that's 2 shows. That's not just a one-off. I mean, well, it could still be a one-off technically, but that shows there might be still a little bit more there that they could, advance, or maybe if Vince allowed some of his women to go to Impact, that's like, what is the trade-off going to be? Because you got to believe there's got to be something, because Vince and Tony Khan aren't just like, okay, yeah, we just want Mickie back. Like there's, and then Scott D'Amore's got to be like, okay, you got to give me something. Like this is, this is a woman that you sent a trash bag of her belongings to. This isn't a woman that, gave her a nice, lovely send off. This is, so like you said, I would love to see Mickie show up, like that week of the Rumble, and do or have all, have those women show up. So
yeah, it definitely wouldn't ruin it. It would actually add
enhance it.
A level of intrigue that we didn't expect. Especially let Mickie come out with the Impact title on her shoulder, and she gets in front of Charlotte, and Charlotte's got her belt on her shoulder, or Becky, and then you have champion one brand, champion another brand facing off, and then let Mickie go over. Charlotte does her classic, little pie face, get out of my face, and Mickie drops her, and then stands over her body, holds up her belt. You have the Impact champion standing over your WWE champion, holding up the belt. That would be a huge moment, and people would be down to see what happens in the premium live event. Add more fire to it. I would love that, and it would show some flexibility on Vince's side. That's a video that Mickie can take back to Impact and brag on and add to her status. So it would be huge. I would love to see that. And like I said, if Scott D'Amore is going to agree to this, Vince had to agree to something. So I would be down for seeing something like that happen.
And you would think WrestleMania would be that fun event like that you can add Impact or AEW or NWA, like that could be. I mean, they're calling it the most stupendous show this time around. The most stupendous 2 nights, like or some, like we've said, create something like a one-off night where all 3-4 brands can kind of compete, like a Survivor Series type style. Because, well, like we said, Survivor Series needs something. So maybe this is a good start. You could get, maybe champions of other brands to compete on Survivor Series, and really, and that won't even, and then I won't care if there's not any like final thing, because it would just be like, okay, that brand got to say they were the best. So, all right. Any other news that we might need to bring up?
I think we're up to speed for the moment. Yeah.
Okay. Let's do a quick commercial break. I think I've timed this out just right that we could do a break for each little segment. So we'll do this real quick. Elite Performance. You got to get elite. You got to go get in touch with them. Alrighty, so here we go. Here's our Monday Night Raw talk. So we'll kind of do all WWE talk. We'll do Monday Night Raw, NXT, SmackDown. We'll do another commercial break, get into kind of the final, then get AEW, and then wrap up the show and get you on your way. We do have Battle of the Belts tonight for AEW, so tune into that on TNT. We'll kind of talk up what we think might happen there. But looking at Monday Night Raw, Greg, I put all the results so people could see there. You know, we don't have to talk every single match that happened because, let's face it, a lot of this stuff doesn't matter in the grand scheme of things. You know, if we kind of look at the start, we had the Alpha Academy defeat Raw Tag Team Champions RK Bro, so we can kind of see where that's going. I would assume our Alpha Academy get a tag team title shot at Royal Rumble. But, Greg, do they win it?
I don't see it. I think they hold on to it till WrestleMania, and then they drop the titles at WrestleMania. Give the biggest moment they can to, you know, whoever's going to be the next team up to hold the titles, and that's also going to be a perfect springboard for the Riddle versus Randy rivalry, which then we cap off at SummerSlam. So, you know, I expect it to be a good match. It was a good way to transition from the Street Profits, this is the number one contenders, to Alpha Academy, and then it's going to go to whoever the next team up is. But I don't see
oh, sorry, go ahead.
No, I was saying I don't see it happening on Raw. I think it's going to happen at a pay-per-view, and WrestleMania would be the best timing for it, I think.
And it seems like it's a Street Profits to almost lose at WrestleMania. I mean, Alpha Academy are kind of close, and you know we don't. I guess for me at WrestleMania, it's all about the that next wave coming in, and like the big celebrations. So it seems like the Street Profits are still being that almost that side lane, Greg, where they can always zoom into the the fast lane, but they're in the passing lane now. They're ready to just jump in if they need to. So, I mean, I would like to see Alpha Academy take it off because I feel like they've worked hard for it. But like you said, is it going to happen? Probably not. So, how about this weird 24 champion Dana Brooke mess with the mixed tag match? For me, Greg, I feel like Tamina is going to win the 24/7 championship only for Reggie to take it off her or R-Truth or Tozawa. Is that where you see the 24 championship going, or do you even care where the 24 championship is going? Any thoughts on the 24/7 championship?
They've killed the fun of it.
Yes.
The Reggie and Dana is not fun. It's not interesting. The segments are dumb, and the matches are even worse. Find a way to transition it back to the men and give it its momentum back, because you just, it was what it was when it was on the men's side. It was at least entertaining, and with a woman with the 24/7 title, they've had nothing to do with it creatively that furthers the story. It's stayed in Dana's hands, and she's got no shine from walking next to Reggie, and it's boring now. So find a way to get back in the man's hands and let it take that life back on its own. It sucks right now. So I'll get what they do with it, as long as R-Truth or Reggie, as much as I hate saying that, get it back.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. Like, why not involve the other women? I mean, you know, you have Zelina and Carmella kind of just keep going after Rhea Ripley, Nikki Ash. I mean, you have Dewdrop there. I mean, now that we see where Dewdrop's headed, which I'll bring up next, but yeah, like you said, the fun is, and then they always say, the title can't change hand during a match, or the 24/7 rule is like not enforced. It's not not allowed, not happening during the match. It's like, okay, but it just, like you said, yes, all the steam has been taken out of it. It was fun while it lasted, and now it's done. So speaking of Dewdrop, she will be involved in a triple threat match with Bianca Belair, with Liv Morgan to face Becky Lynch. I feel like shenanigans are going to happen there till the Royal Rumble. I think ultimately, Greg, all four of these women will be involved in the title match at Royal Rumble. So I think it'll be Becky Lynch go against Dewdrop, against Bianca Belair, against Liv Morgan. Maybe the loser ends up in the Royal Rumble match, with the women's Royal Rumble match or something like that. But I feel like you've just positioned Becky with Liv and Bianca Belair, and and Dewdrop now kind of added to it because of the Bianca Belair. I feel like all four of these women are going to be involved at Royal Rumble, and then come WrestleMania, we'll see who's the one-on-one match for Becky Lynch. But in the meantime, all these women will get their shots at Becky till then. So where do you think the Women's Championship of Raw is going, Greg?
I agree with you. That four-way definitely looks like where they're steering this thing to. And it's the only thing that makes sense because Becky's already beaten Bianca a couple times already, whether it was clean or not. There were still wins. Same thing with Liv Morgan, and I know you're a big Liv Morgan proponent.
Mm-hmm.
She's had two chances and she's lost two chances.
Yeah.
So the only way to put her back into a one-on-one mix is to have her win again while Becky's in the ring, and maybe even pin Becky in this four-way match to warrant her getting another shot. So I like the Dewdrop being added to it because it's added to Dewdrop's legitimacy.
Mm-hmm.
She's gone a long way since she came in with Eva Marie, and now she looks like more of a badass. And I like the way they've changed her look a little bit. They gave her tougher sounding music. Her presentation overall is much better. Last thing is to drop that Dewdrop name. We need to get to there, but she definitely fits in this mix. And I wouldn't mind seeing her win it, but it's too soon for that. But I like that she's been put into a top level program like this one.
Well, and I think she's the interesting name, the X Factor, because you remember there was a little segment with Becky where she kept saying Dewdrop's name. So I almost wonder if you might have Becky cost Bianca and Liv and have Dewdrop. So maybe we do get a one-on-one match at Rumble, Dewdrop versus Becky, and maybe Becky tries to get Dewdrop to drop, lay down for her or something like that. But yeah, I think Dewdrop is the X Factor, and maybe when it all is said and done, she could be the one getting the title shot because you had Becky Lynch kind of, keep saying her name and say how intriguing that is. So you do wonder if Becky will play a part in Dewdrop winning that. So the Women's Tag Team Champions, Greg, they won. That's it. Nikki Ash, like, if she gets a call from Stanford, Greg, she better ignore it, block it, throw her phone in the ocean, unless I think the writing is there. It just feels like, you got to get rid of the Nikki Ash character sooner rather than later. And it does feel like, why is she still there? I mean, I don't want to, I probably sound like I want people fired, but I just feel like she's out, she just doesn't belong there anymore. And I feel bad because she's definitely earned her keep with the Nikki Ash character, but at the same time, what in the hell are they doing with her, Greg?
Yeah, they've really killed all the momentum from when she beat Charlotte, and they went all in on the Nikki Ash character for maybe a month before they saw it really wasn't going anywhere, and they killed it. And now they're presenting her as she's losing all the tag team matches. She's taking the fall in all the matches that she's having with Rhea. Now Rhea's getting a little sick of her, and I was expecting Rhea to deck her after this last loss, and it went off. The camera went off while they were still in the ring, and Rhea was looking frustrated with Nikki. So what's going to happen there? But
it's coming.
It looks like that was where it was going. Yeah, I wouldn't mind. This would be a perfect time for what I'm going to say. Sanity Nikki, see Nikki Ash loses or probably gets fed up and angry, and boom, Nikki or Sanity Nikki comes back. Just saying that's the kind of radical change you need if you're going to save your life.
Yeah.
So, Sanity Nikki would be great. Even give her the Sanity entrance and bring it back. So, Sanity, one faction that died too soon, in my opinion. But I don't know. There's not many roads left for Nikki to, save her soul, so to speak. And I think that would be one road. But otherwise, yeah, watch out for that list of releases.
Nikki feels, and like I said, I've kind of seen her as a independent wrestler, just doing the circuit, or maybe Impact Wrestling. Then she can get back with Eric Young and maybe do some stuff with his team down there. So we do have Big Ben 316 in the chat, Greg. So we're happy to see Big Ben. What up to Big Ben there? His Big Ben is all done, I'm guessing. So yeah, happy trails to Ben Roethlisberger, and enjoy retirement. I don't know what we'll see, commentary wise or what he'll do next, but pretty solid career for Big Ben, even with the trials and tribulations he had at the beginning of that early mid 2000s range for him. So wait a minute, almost got released. Is that official, Greg, or is that official, Big Ben? Where are we seeing this?
Who almost got released?
Now I would hope that he didn't get released because he just beat, he just beat AJ. Yeah, we will check on that. But
are we about to break some news here?
Big Ben, if you have any validation on that, please share it, because I'm scrolling through Twitter and I don't see anything yet. But we'll keep an eye on that. So, well, AJ Styles did lose to Omos, by the way, because I think Omos is headed for a big Royal Rumble. I think he's going to vie for that elimination. Oh, you're just saying, okay. He said that they said Monday his Sunday show was horrible against AJ Styles and they let him go. Okay. Well, until we see that officially, we will let that pass that along. But right now, I think Greg, Omos is headed for a big Royal Rumble. What about you? I think he's going to be the Roman Reigns, like Kane, that type of eliminate 10 people. It wouldn't surprise me if it's going to be double figures that he eliminates. And then, like you said, they might pull the whole 5 people have to eliminate him, or 6 or whatever. So what do you think Omos is headed for at the Royal Rumble, Greg?
Yeah, he's definitely going to be one of the last 5-6 guys, I think. I think it's still going to take him lightly. He's still pretty, green, and his advantage is being able to look down on everybody. And it won't be for lack of trying, but he's going to be one of the final 6-7 guys in the ring. No way he's going to win it, but
he's going
to put him over strong. Yeah, he's going to have a Kane-like performance. I have no doubt.
Big Ben says he thinks Johnny Knoxville wins, and yes, we know that is Johnny Knoxville is going to get taken out by Sami Zayn, so that's all that matters there. Or he's going to take Sami Zayn out, but Knoxville will get his little moment, and we'll bring that up on SmackDown side. Some other stuff, Greg. Commander Aziz and Apollo Crews took another L I don't know when the last time they've won anything. You talk about like, is the writing on the wall there? Like, both those guys could be cut anytime soon. Street Profits pick up the win. Damian Priest picks up a win over Ziggler. By the way, Robert Roode, he's another guy, Greg. If I'm Robert Roode, I'm blocking all calls from Stamford, Connecticut, because he's a Triple H guy. So you wonder, even main roster-wise. How about we got the next tag team match happening, Greg? Edge and Beth Phoenix going against Maurice and Miz. I feel like this is Maurice and Miz is to lose. I feel like they're going to, we're going back and forth between them, but I'm looking forward to seeing it, and Beth Phoenix kind of brought up this is probably the only time we'll ever see them team up. And I know you had mentioned you'd rather see it here, so it's good that we're getting it here. And then let Edge and Miz have some sort of gimmicky match at WrestleMania, I think, because you feel like it's coming. You keep having Edge play up Gangrel style. You feel like they want this intensity to it. So, Greg, give us some thoughts on Edge, Beth Phoenix, and Miz and Maurice.
Yeah, I agree with you saying it. They're doing it 50-50 in the run up to the big matches. So Edge and Beth got the upper hand on this one. It's time for Miz and Maurice to get the upper hand on the next one. Tag team match is going to be fun. Edge, keep the entrance. The Brood entrance is hot fire, and I'm sure even
literally
the millennials who have exactly, and even the millennials who didn't get to see it during its real run, its first run, are loving it now. The music's hot. The entrance is amazing, and you need to keep that. And he deserves two entrances as one, with his Brood entrance transitioning into the new entrance. And so keep it. I want to keep seeing that, and I don't care who you're in there with. We got to do the Brood entrance to start it off. So shout out for them to WWE for recognizing how great it was when he did it the first time, and leaving that in there. As far as Miz and Edge's singles go, the matches were better than I expected it. The day one match was really good, and they can have that to build on. And I don't think any of us really look forward to a Miz match, but this is doing the trick. It's going to. I think they're only going to get better. It looks like they have good chemistry in the ring. The wives are adding a new wrinkle to it, and it lends itself to plenty of gimmick matches down the road. Maybe at WrestleMania, there's two against each other, and the women are handcuffed to each other, or something like that. Or tied
have shark
at the
cages
wrist
still
with a
left?
strap.
Do they still have a shark
I'm sure
cage
they
left?
do. They have to go into the warehouse and find it, but I'm
Go
sure the
find
shark cages are in there somewhere. But
what about do we
we're
get
here for
a
it.
you think me entrance for Edge here soon, Greg? He could come through the crowd with his little glasses and do the little spotlight, because I always loved that entrance, because they'd always do the spotlight around trying to find him when he was playing that kind of weird. I guess was that after the Brood? I think it was.
I think it was after the Brood.
Okay, yeah. It is kind of funny to see the Brood are starting to get their love, which, because back then, yes, the entrance was awesome, but I mean, was there any Brood matches that were like, oh man, like I remember that match.
Right.
I mean,
no, there were never
I
any
don't
great
see
Brood
Gangrel
matches.
going in the Hall of Fame anytime soon, Greg. I'll just say that, right? Maybe the Brood.
It was a cool look.
Maybe the Brood as a whole, though. I mean, we do have, Coco Beware in there, so we have the Great Khali
Right.
of all people. I mean, the Brood are right there at that Mendoza line. I think of, they could just get a quick. I mean, that would probably be Christian's entrance into the Hall of Fame too, Greg. So who knows? But Big Ben did ask, what's up with Triple H? He is still recovering as far as we know. There was the article that came out that it said he is bummed out, Greg, that by all the
You
recent,
think?
which yeah, he might not even come back. He might just hang out with his girls and the dogs and just be like, I'm good. Like if you need me, just Zoom call me. Like I'll do interviews and press for Mania, but yes. And I know we did and I guess we did forget, Greg, to bring up day one. So I'm glad we could interject day one stuff into our talk, because I just completely forgot to put that in the notes with everything else happening in the week. So, but finally, we got Bobby Lashley defeat Big E, Kevin Owens, Seth Rollins in a fatal four-way to go against, yes, you read it correctly, Brock Lesnar, who won it at day one because Roman Reigns couldn't go. I thought, we'll bring it up a little bit, Greg, but I thought Roman still sounded a little under the weather last night. Hopefully he's good to go, but, he was there. So Brock Lesnar gets injected into a fatal five-way match. Thanks to Paul Heyman, wins the title. I guess we all should have seen that coming. I feel a little bad for Big E to lose it like that. It wasn't quite Kofi Kingston treatment, though, Greg, I believe. It was at least a solid outing. Big E got his moments. I mean, Kofi got nothing. So Xavier Woods, if I were you, I'd be like, I'm good. Brock doesn't need to come after his crown, does he? So, that might. Brock does not like New Day. That's all it is. That's just the theory. I don't know why he wouldn't like them. I mean, they're awesome. But anyway, so we get Bobby Lashley, Brock Lesnar, Greg, at Royal Rumble, but this is a WrestleMania match. So I'm kind of mixed about it. Like, because I don't think I want to see them go again at WrestleMania. Like, if we're going to do it, it's a one-off. You let them rock horns, have at it, quick 10-minute match. They just pound each other, and just have, do we see a rematch?
That's really interesting, because this is a match that we've been fantasy booking for a long, long, long time. They've been in the company at the same time for a while, and not just this run, but they've never crossed paths in the ring. And it's a super fight, so I don't understand why they're not saving this for WrestleMania either, because with the right build, it could be the biggest match on the card. I mean, you look at these two, the way they look, how dominant they are, the fact that they are both professional fighters as far as mixed martial arts fighters. You got Brock Lesnar, the former UFC heavyweight champion, the baddest man on the planet, and Brock Lesnar, or Bobby Lashley, who was in Bellator and hasn't lost a Bellator fight. I mean, these two could get in the octagon and go at it legit. So it's.
You wonder if there'll be some stiffer punches then because of that.
Oh yeah, exactly. And I'd love to see that in an MMA cage. So, with the right build up, it could be the biggest match on WrestleMania. But they're not giving it that treatment. They're going to do it now, and so it pretends that they have something else in mind for Brock
and Roman. When you consider last night's
right
little blurb at the end.
True. And I was wondering if they were finally going to unify the titles with Brock and Roman. That's what my first impression was. Instead of just a champion versus champion match, whoever wins, and everybody goes away with their own title anyway. So maybe that's where it's headed, with a unification bout at WrestleMania, but that would mess up the whole one championship defended on each night type of angle. So it would be amazing, but now it doesn't look like it's going to happen.
Well, then you would wonder about the Royal Rumble winner as well. Like, would they?
Right.
They would almost get kind of screwed, or unless they're in a three-way. It just like you said, I feel like the big money match is Brock versus Roman, aligning unifying the titles. Like it's going to be hard to find a bigger match than that right now, because you're already on the pathway towards it. Now, unless you try to maybe unify that Elimination Chamber. I mean, you're already blowing through matches anyway, so it just feels like that. Now, is USA and Fox okay with that? Because that would be one title, but that champion should be able to show up wherever they want. So that's the thing
Exactly.
too. You could show up on Brock. Heck, Brock showed up last night on Fox. So even though technically he's classified as a free agent. So yeah, I think the big, and I mean, getting Bobby Lashley and Brock now does make you wonder if they're just going to blow it off and just do the whole unification match, or you going to have both titles? Do you just pull, old school Chris Jericho, or the Orton and Cena when they had the two titles? Does somebody, maybe Brock wins against the Rumble and then faces Roman the next night. Or maybe Brock and Roman both have their first night matches and then the next night they face each other, something like that. But yeah, it's going to be interesting to see where they go, because like you said, Greg, right now in Dallas, I mean, what is your big money match? It's Brock and Roman with the titles.
And there are ways to do it. I mean, you can.
Yeah.
Nobody's better at changing the rules on the fly than the WWE. So
yes.
It's easy to, if you book this as a unification type or belt or unification match with the titles.
Yeah.
Of course, that'd be the biggest night of the night, so you have to save that for night 2, and maybe you could do something where, the women's belt is the feature of night 1, and you make the absolute biggest possible match for the women's championship and mix the brands. We're already mixing it with Brock and Roman.
Yeah.
May as well mix it with, open the rules, mix it with, the women from both brands also. And put Charlotte and Becky in the match. And so if we're doing it on the men's side, we're doing it on the women's side. Put Charlotte and Becky in there. And why not throw Sasha in there too? Or if Bayley is ready, just have a 4-horsewomen showdown for all the marbles. And you reset, you kind of reset on both sides with the men's side and the women's side, and you rewrite the rules going forward. So
I've always wondered with the 4-horsewomen match, is that ship sailed, Greg, or do you think it could still be as big as we think it should be?
It still has legitimacy because it's still recent.
That's true.
Charlotte, Becky, Bayley, and Sasha, they're all recent. They've all been champs very recently. They've all been at the top, in the pandemic era.
Now. That's what's interesting.
Right.
I think you could do, almost like the Daniel Bryan entrance with the monster, like you show him back his old days and then his current days. And it is in Dallas. And that's where we got the first, when we brought out the women's championship, which Bayley was a part of. That was Sasha, Charlotte, and Becky. So it'd be interesting to see if somehow, like you said, you give some, might be some convoluted way to get there. But if you want big matches in Dallas, stupendous night of wrestling, you might have to throw everything at the wall. I mean, and,
right.
And just figure out where to go afterwards. So, yeah. Anything else from Raw, Greg? Or are we ready to move on to NXT?
Yep, on the NXT.
All right, so here we go. The big things there. We did have North American champion Carmelo Hayes defeat Cruiserweight champion. So now he is the North American Cruiserweight champion. Is the writing on the wall for Roderick Strong, Greg? Do you think he's on the out? Because I did forget to mention that Diamond Mine's coach, Hackman Suzuki is his, New Japan.
Yeah.
And he was let go. So I feel bad for Malcolm Bivens because he keeps getting screwed on people. I mean, I think he had Veer and Shanky as a tag team once, and he had I think he had other one. Him and Robert Stone might need to just both be like, okay, we got to block, stay up for Connecticut calls because, I don't know what more is left. If Diamond Mine is done, Greg, then it's like, okay, it's Malcolm Bivens on the sideline again, waiting to see who he could go with. So, what about Roderick Strong? Do you think the writing's on the wall for him there in NXT?
Yeah, it looks like it. And I think the only reason he's not already gone, because we always think of him as part of the Undisputed Era. What we
he must have signed a
misremember
little
is the
bit
fact
longer.
that he was. Yeah, and the thing is, he was there before the
That's
Undisputed
true.
Era showed
Yes.
up. So I'm sure he was on a different type of contract as far as length or whatever. So you notice that all three members of the Undisputed Era were gone within months of each other. So their contracts were probably all written for the same length at the same time. Because you remember, Adam Cole and Kyle O'Reilly did extensions to complete the program that they were in before they left, and which is the only reason they didn't show up at the same time in AEW. Roger Strong was already there with part of another tag team, and they recruited him into Undisputed Era.
That's true.
And,
him and Pete Dunne,
right,
were teaming up against, and that's when he turned.
Right, and he fit like the glove with him, so we always think of him as Undisputed Era too. But he was there before Undisputed Era arrived, and that's probably the only reason that their departure times don't match.
That's
so. Now I think that time's up for him too, and having him drop his belt is a way to let him off TV and turn the focus to the Creed brothers and Ivy Nile, Malcolm Bivens for as long as this run will go, and phase Roderick out of the mix, and he'll turn up next to Adam Cole and Kyle O'Reilly soon enough.
Yeah, I do wonder if maybe I did forget about the Creed brothers and Ivy. So I guess Malcolm Bivens would still be a good mouthpiece, especially for the Creed brothers. I mean, those two guys, they got to work on some promos. So we did have AJ Styles confront Grayson Waller. I think some people thought they were going to face each other, but they're going to face each other next week. Which I'm kind of, I think this is AJ Styles' run to just say, F it, Greg, I want to do whatever. If he shows up on main event one night, whatever, and go against Ali or Ricochet, or something like that. I think they're in the AJ, where do you want to go? and just do it. I mean, who knows? He might show up on Impact Wrestling because we all know he has a lot of history with Impact Wrestling. So, if that forbidden door is open, who knows? But they'll face off each other next week. Grayson Waller to win, Greg, in some weird fashion. Or do we save that big win for Grayson Waller at Takeover, if they could push this out to then or something like that?
Yeah, there's room for a good month of content with Grayson Waller and AJ Styles going back and forth. So I can see AJ Styles getting the win and given the you got a lot to learn kid kind of promo on him, and a sneak attack, and then that leads to another match and so on. True. So there's more business that you can do with these two than just a one-off. So
and hopefully,
with them doing the cross promotional thing too, with him showing up on Raw and AJ coming to NXT, build on that too. So I think AJ wins this time, but it's just a shot in the battle, not the war. So you can have a little war with these two, and it'll be great.
Speaking of Raw superstars, we had Matt Riddle Raw Tag Team Champion, Greg, and MSK pick up the win over Imperium. A lot of fun little stuff here and there. We got to see Walter. He needs to show up in the Royal Rumble. I think did he not show up in last year's, or did he show up in a Rumble 2 years ago, or has he not shown up yet?
No, he's never shown up on
so
main or
this is the year
main roster.
I guess he was on the Survivor Series. Sorry, that's what I was thinking of, because he was part of the Survivor Series team for NXT. I thought
that's right. Yeah.
He had a short little stint in that. But now's the time, Greg. He needs to be in the Royal Rumble, and I think the writing is there that he'll be in there. But did the Riddle picking up the win do anything for MSK? Because it didn't in my mind.
No, I don't think it did either.
And that's why I'm surprised that Riddle picked up the win.
Right. MSK wins by association, but it was all about Riddle. So they kind of defeated the whole purpose of them learning from him and using that to win.
Yeah, why not pull out his bro Derek or something like that to win? But I think I think Riddle did win with the RKO though, so that's kind of fun. Mandy Rose continues her championship winning ways, Greg. Decent match with Cora Jade and Raquel Gonzalez. Mandy's still, I talk about entrances, Greg, like Mandy Rose's entrance now, is ridiculously good. So any thoughts on Mandy Rose keep chugging along as women's champion?
I'm starting to enjoy it a little bit more. She's gotten progressively better. The more screen time she gets, the more she gets to lean into what her character really is. She's been more believable, and you can feel what she's talking about now. So I'm liking it more than I did at the beginning.
And it's not like you're presenting her as like a goth chick. I mean, yes, she dyed her hair black, but she still presented herself as like this. You can't, you can look, but you can't touch. That type of, that type of, and even Gigi and JC are starting to more go towards her. Yeah, they have like goth and punk rock-esque status to them, but they're also like, we know how hot we are. And they are. So that's why they're called Toxic Attraction. So it all kind of fits together. Von Wagner attacked Andre Chase University students, Greg. I think this is all to write Vaughn off for a little bit of time, figure out what the hell they're doing with him. If we still haven't forgotten, he showed up randomly on that SmackDown episode just in the backstage segment. So maybe he shows up in the Rumble just to get a little pub. I mean, I don't know what, because they're saying, oh, well, you can't attack fans. Well, then that's a way to write him off and figure out what the hell you're doing with him.
Yeah, if Khali and Edge had a baby, it would be Von Wagner.
Yes,
it's
yeah, and unfortunately, he got more of Khali's end.
Right.
He has no charisma.
He doesn't fit well with even 2.0. So I can definitely see him as an entrant with the in the Rumble. And maybe they find a manager for him or somebody to speak for him, because his promo ability is horrible right now. But his size and everything, I'm sure that Vince is liking it, and he'll find some dumb gimmick to give him. But yeah, I agree with you that his NXT 2.0 time is running out. So. And they need fresh faces on the main roster, so maybe they can find them something that'll work. Give them a mouthpiece, and see what he can do.
And then finally, Braun Breaker, Greg, defeats Tommaso Ciampa, NXT champion. I mean, if the black and gold brand wasn't dead, it was after Braun Breaker kicked down the X that looked like the old school black and gold brand. And, I guess they are saying that was a little shot to Triple H, which I'm like, why would you do a shot to Triple H? But whatever. That's their own call. And like I said, I was happy to see it, because I think, like we said, if this is going to be 2.0, Greg, then it's like you said, fresh coat of paint. You know, it's not Ciampa winning, it's not Gargano winning, it's not Kyle Wright, it's new guys. And this is what I think they said it was Braun Breaker's 9th match ever. Like, I mean, that's crazy, but they've made him a star. I mean, it shows that, you know, if you put all your horses in a basket, it can turn out okay. You know, it can. Braun Breaker shows, you know, if you have all the tools, it works out. So it was nice to see him have that moment. You know, Ciampa gave him the little respect factor. Ciampa did put out a thank you tweet, and that's all he said. So that's the thing. I'm like, yes, he wrestled SmackDown Dark Match, but is it going to be any surprising if him and Gargano show up in AEW DIY 2.0,
Yep.
whatever they're going to call it, YID, you know, FTR type deal, something like that. So I think that's the thing, you know, let Gargano have some time with baby boy, you know, baby girl, baby boy, whatever they're having. Let Ciampa get his body right. And, you know, then them show up together in AEW. That's what that's my dream booking. So, but congrats to Braun Breaker. I mean, like I said, it shows that when WWE does things, they can do it the right way. And this is proven with Braun Breaker. So, what are your thoughts on Braun Breaker winning the title, Greg?
I like the way he did it in the sense that you knew it was going to happen, but it can't happen fresh out the box. I mean, you can't have Braun Breaker beat him in his first match. So the way he did it, you know, he gets over on Breaker in the first match, and you know, you keep building to it slowly, and then Breaker, you know, learns from his mistakes, wins in the rematch. You know, that is the natural progression of things. That's how you, you know, aid your own legitimacy. And it was a really good match, even though they kind of botched the ending. But, you know, he got it right. And for 2.0, it needs to have him as the champion because that it looks right then. And plus, you know, if it's Ciampa's time to go, you know, this is the way to pass the torch respectfully and, you know, do it by, you know, putting over Breaker, but also looking great himself. And, you know, shout out to Breaker. He looks great. Of everybody on the 2.0 roster, he's definitely the one who looks most main roster ready, even though he's only had 9 matches, as crazy as that is.
Yeah.
But his look, his ability in the ring, his, you know, his that it factor about him. And, you know, he needs to stay down there. I mean, I could see him winning the Royal Rumble in 2023.
Yeah.
He needs to stay down in NXT this year and really do it big and show what a big deal he is. Exactly. Carry the flag. And then next year's Rumble, you know, be the surprise entrant and start killing everybody. But it is the right move to have him as the champ and then, you know, start fending off this current field. Work on your game, work on your skills, work on your mic, and, you know, get ready because he's, as much as we want him to stay down here all year and get his game tight, I wouldn't put it past WWE to bring him up right after WrestleMania or I think after SummerSlam is when they start bringing up people in mass and start resetting the deck around the draft time.
That could be, yeah.
I hope they don't, but I can definitely see it. He has star written all over him, and you know, at least if they bring him up, you know, he has that cachet about him. You know, give him his Steiner name once he comes to the regular or main roster, because everybody's referencing to it. You heard him as they're going off the air talking about the dog-faced gremlin, and if you're 20 years old or younger, you have no idea what they're talking about. But you know, that's what they called his dad. You know, back in the day, the dog-faced gremlin, Rick Steiner. But they've made plenty of references to it in all of his matches. So you feel that once he comes to the main roster, they're going to let that out the bag and work, and he's going to get to use it. I also saw
Maybe.
something that after his win, Rick Steiner made an appearance in the ring with Braun. So that was cool acknowledgement of it. And, down the road, they're not going to ignore that.
Yeah, you wonder if maybe they could get Rick Steiner. And who would have thought, of all the names out there, like Rick Steiner could be trending at some point, Greg, sometime soon if they have him, show up with his son. Like you said, I think they know what they got with Braun, and they want to keep him down there. Now, Solo, the Usos' long lost brother. I mean, after WrestleMania, we could see him, get rushed to the main roster and do things with his brothers and Roman, the cousins. So, and now that Paul Heyman's out of the loop, Craig, they might need that fourth guy in there. So, I'd be
true.
I think that'd be fun to see if Solo Siako could get called up around. I hate saying sooner rather than later because, like you said, some of these guys still haven't shown that they're ready. I mean, Von Wagner needs to stay down there for life, maybe
ever,
but ever, or see that call from Stanford and unfortunately figure out his game. But I will not see Khali. Now from now on, Greg, when Von Wagner shows up, I will see Edge and Khali's baby. So thank you for that awesome visual. Next up, let's get to some SmackDown talk. We brought it up originally. Brock Lesnar, Roman Reigns, face-to-face. I thought Roman sounded a little, not all the way under the weather, but it scared me a little bit when his voice was a little raspy. I know he has a raspy voice anyway, but it's kind of like when Seth did his little promo, I think it was last week, when he sounded like, okay. But, if they think he's fine, they think he's fine. So, like we've brought up a few times, that's our big money match. Roman and Brock, title for title. So, we're not. I don't want to spend too much more time on that, Greg, since we kind of did. But Rick Boogs defeated Sami Zayn, but good old Johnny Knoxville, Greg, came out there and threw out Sami Zayn. I'm sorry, I love it. I don't care what anybody says. I know I should have done this, but I mean, Jackass Forever comes out in February. So it's a good way to, give Johnny Knoxville a little pub. I mean, why not have all the guys? Steve-O, Chris Pontius, Aaron. Unfortunately, not BAM. BAM is speaking of getting cut, he got cut from the Jackass cruise. And like we said, Greg, guys our age and women our age know all about Jackass. But is that your phone?
No, that's not me.
Oh, okay.
Oh, that's my.
I hear music. Sorry.
Hold on.
You're good.
Maybe it is. I got my laptop running here, but.
Okay. Somebody had music. Sorry. That's why I got distracted for a minute. But anyways, because it's coming in loud, so that's why I wasn't sure what was.
There it is.
Okay.
It is me.
Okay. Sorry. I was like, okay.
The little hidden app.
Okay. You're good. Jackass, whatever. We grew up in the Jackass. Well, I don't know if you're a little bit older, Greg, but Jackass. There's been 3 movies and it was on forever. So, Johnny Knoxville, whatever. Just give him a small. He's probably going to come out in the Andy Kaufman, a weird white shirt and the weird sweatpants, and he'll get thrown out by somebody right away. I mean, does it take away a spot? Yeah, but whatever. If you can find who
that's
you want
the
to
thing,
put in this,
though.
I know.
Of all the people, I mean, seriously, come on, man.
And of
a
course,
lot of people we want to see there.
And this isn't Jackass 2000-ish. This is Jackass 2022. So, anyways, he'll probably get thrown out by Sami Zayn, and then we'll move on. But how about this? Charlotte Flair defeated Naomi. But Sonya Deville, Greg, played a heavy hand in that, changing the rules as the match went on. So once again, when do we get the damn match? When is it Naomi, Sonya Deville, with some sort of stipulation on the line? I mean, do they do it at Rumble? And then you just don't have both these women in the Royal Rumble?
It's no, it's too easy to, uh, the Rumble. She can't screw that up. I
Yeah.
mean, um,
So maybe on a
so it's going to
SmackDown
have to go
episode?
past the Rumble.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can really draw this out as long as you want, and no, but who's going to stop it unless Roman stops it, or the bloodline finally get involved and bring. This is when this Naomi versus Sonya timeline is going to finally wind down, when the bloodline gets involved and brings in Naomi.
Does that turn the bloodline
So
face, though?
no, I think if they bully their way into finally giving Naomi her chance, and Roman brings her into the ring, she's one of us.
Yeah.
You mess with one of us, you mess with all of us, give her that type of thing. You
Mhm.
can still keep them heel,
Yeah.
and you're by association making Naomi heel too. But this would be a chance for Naomi to change herself. Drop the glow gimmick,
Yeah.
and put on the blacks and go more hardcore, and turn instead of glow chick into badass chick. So it would still be good for her. Um, I can see something like that happen. I think that's when the Sonya bullying angle comes to an end. That would be
Yeah.
a way to um, pay it off in a different way.
Mhm. Yeah, and that's what I wonder. Like that's where I wondered which way it would go, because if you had heel Naomi, heel Sonya, Naomi still getting over her would still be okay to see. So, happy Corbin and Madcap Moss defeat the Viking Raiders. I think that's all we need to say there. We do have to bring up Drew McIntyre, though, Greg. He's fighting some legit injuries, so he might be off, for a little bit of time. It does make me a little scared, though, Greg. I think we could get Drew and Corbin at Mania, and God, I would feel so bad for Drew to have that type of match at Mania. So I hope that Drew gets better before then, and we just run it off the match at some SmackDown, and then Drew moves on. But at the same time, if Drew has to be out longer, or maybe you just keep him out of Mania, and because like I said, I do not want to see him and Corbin at WrestleMania, Greg. That is not the match for Drew
Yeah,
at WrestleMania.
yeah, I'm really bummed for Drew, but it's a neck, and WWE has a bad history with necks.
Yeah, that is true.
From
And he's been
Drew to
battling it.
Edge to Daniel Bryan. Yeah, I mean, Stone Cold Steve Austin's career ended early because of his neck.
Mhm.
Lots of bad neck injuries. Page. Um,
Mhm.
so you can't be too careful.
Yeah.
So if he has to miss Mania, he has to miss Mania. But um, I think if he's good to go before then, you pay off the neck
Corbin and
before, or you pay off Corbin angle before then, and then
mhm.
put him into the Roman Reigns slot.
Yeah. I mean, that's the thing. I feel like other than Brock and Roman, I mean, Drew and Roman, with the way that they're positioned, makes the most sense. And maybe Drew finally getting over on Roman, and getting. I mean, I know I keep harping on it, Greg, to give him finally a WrestleMania moment in front of a crowd. I mean, I think Drew's
Yeah,
earned it, and deserve is another word we could say. But I think he carried the torch. He carried that flag through the pandemic stuff, and I mean, he tried to
right.
get the crowd as much as he could. So what better way than Drew winning in front of 100,000 people the second night of WrestleMania in front of in Dallas, Texas? Like, I mean, that yeah. So the Usos defeated New Day. They're touting this as New Day's final opportunity for the foreseeable future, Greg, which means, of course, they could say next week that New Day's in a championship opportunity match and New Day could win it. But really good
Right.
street fight. And, like that whole Forbidden Door, I'm still holding out hope we could get New Day and Young Bucks down the road some point, because that would be so much fun.
Oh,
Especially if we could get all three, the Young Bucks and Kenny Omega against all of New Day. I think all six of those people would just, kill it and have a lot of fun with it leading up to it. Even if they never showed up on TV together, I think you could do enough social media to give it the legs it needed. So that's my forbidden gate. It's not even a door. It's a big old gate. So yeah. But Usos pick up the win, Greg. Good win for them. I don't know who's next for them, though. I mean, maybe Madcap and Corbin just to do something in the meantime.
Yeah, there's really nobody else
Viking Raiders
behind the New Day waiting. True, and good God, they need to change that entrance. Holy crap, it's so horrible. Talk about teams that need to be repackaged.
Yeah.
And they're just kind of grinning and bearing it, but even with the Viking Raiders matches, you can tell they're not feeling it. So I feel bad.
You wonder what time frame they have left.
There's nobody.
I wonder what kind of contracts they have left, because as soon as they're done, I'm thinking they go back to the War Machine and show up in Impact or AEW and finally be able to chant war, which is still funny that they could be the War Raiders on NXT. Now, I guess because of trademarking and licensing, I guess I get it. But yeah, it's still weird that that's the thing, Greg. The crowd love to chant war. The crowd is not chanting raid, no matter how hard they're trying. I mean, they are showing it up on the freaking Titantron, and the crowd is just like, yeah, it's the Viking Raiders. They're going to lose. Like,
this isn't doing it for you.
Yeah. Well, and that's what they did. Well, I guess they did more of this. Maybe they need to do some old school, like, Zack Ryder. Woo, woo, woo. I don't know. But anyway, so finally, though, Greg, we got it. And it is going to be Seth Rollins and Roman Reigns. And this is kind of weird because it is heel versus heel. So I feel like this is going to be 50-50 split with the crowd. Like, let's go Rollins. Let's go Reigns. Like, the crowd, I don't know if the crowd's even going to know who to cheer, because both guys right now are at the top of their game heel-wise. So, like I said, you're kind of blowing through matches here at Royal Rumble. And that's why you said as well, what is going to be the marquee matches for Mania? Because this should have been a Mania match, but we're getting it now. So what do you think, Greg, about Roman Reigns, Seth Rollins at Royal Rumble? And who is the crowd going to even be in favor of?
Yeah, and that's the whole thing, is that they're really they're starting early on reshuffling the deck. And that's why the whole unification angle makes sense. They're already crossing brand lines with, having Brock entered into the Raw Championship picture, and now bringing Seth over from Raw to put into the SmackDown picture. And the fact that Adam Pearce could pick anybody to put into the mix for Roman's title defense, and he bypassed everybody on SmackDown and picked somebody from Raw to fight Roman. Yeah. So it's already they're already doing this cross promotional thing, and it's kind of way to lay the foundation. It's like, well, okay, we've already started doing it. We may as well
the brand split's dead.
Keep riding it. Right.
I mean, does that happen officially? I think they, like you said, I wonder if they just do it under current wise, like just they don't even mention why guys can show up, but they kill the brand split in the way.
Yeah, and they need to right now with as many people, getting sick, people getting COVID behind the scenes, and having to do things on the fly. It's necessary. So I definitely understand it, and why not work that into the storytelling? And that was one of the last faces I was expecting seeing when knew we were going to see who Roman's opponent was going to be. So I like it. They may as well just do away with the brain split and just go for the best match possible. And it's a very intriguing match, and this definitely should be a WrestleMania match instead of Royal Rumble match. But if you're going for the biggest bang for your buck, why not? See who the crowd rides with, and
that
go
could
with
be
that
it too. And that maybe that's why they want to see which way this, because heel versus heel at Mania is a tough. Now, granted, the crowd just kind of does their own thing, but it feels like, wasn't it Orton and Triple H like heel versus heel, or maybe Batista and Triple H or something like that, and the crowd just like didn't even care. Like it was just I forget, it had to be one of those type of mixtures, because I felt like they were all heels around the same time frame. But it's tough. I think now, granted, like I said, at WrestleMania, the crowd's going to do what they want to do, so maybe it doesn't matter necessarily. But leading up to that, you almost want to pick a side and ride with it. So, maybe because they're in St. Louis and they're at this they keep saying the new arena, so maybe they're trying to build the bang there and help help the city and get some love. So, and you're doing Royal Rumble, on a Saturday, so maybe you're just trying to get all of your big money matches there too. So, all right, let's take another time out, get some commercial talk for Sean Nugent, and then we'll get into AEW. And speaking of COVID, that was COVID hit Cody Rhodes, and we'll talk up Battle of the Belts and what's going to happen there because of what happened with Cody Rhodes, which makes me wonder if that Cardona Green wedding, Greg, was a super spreader, because there was a lot of wrestlers there, and the Iconics were down. I don't know if they were there, but yeah, that made me a little bit worried, because Cody Rhodes going down, and he was part of that wedding. You wonder if there might be any more faces dropping out. But anyways, that's a whole nother ball of wax. So, Realty Talk with our rock star, Sean Nugent.
What is up, everybody? It's your boy Dan over at BWSports1.com and Black and White Sports. And I'm wondering, if you're ready to buy or sell that home, now's the time, and I got just the person for you. Mr. Sean Nugent, a.k.a. Rockstar Realtor himself. 317-503-8322. Put that home on the market. Get into your dream home with this man. Talk to Sean at Talk to Tucker today, 317-503-8322, and make sure you tell him the boys over at BWSports1.com sent you.
Alrighty, and here we are. We are on to AEW. We got Dynamite happening. We had quite another bloody affair, Greg, between Hangman Adam Page and Bryan Danielson, and we had 3 judges, and those 3 judges were Mark Henry, Paul White, and Jerry Lynn. Greg, to say you're going to go outside the box and you give us those 3 judges, ugh, that's all I got to say about that. And then the judges don't even matter. They're not even involved in anything. So why in the hell? I think they thought it was going to be a good idea, and then they realized, maybe it doesn't need to happen. So, and they were sitting there making notes and whatever, and maybe Danielson will use them in the net, because that's the thing, Greg. Does this go a third match? Because I feel like you're doing the graphic, you had the big old 2 behind it, but then you had Hangman win clean. I mean, there was no, it was no shenanigans. So do we get a third match? And maybe does Danielson bring in the judges to maybe say that, they thought he actually won? Is that how it's going to play out, Greg? Or do we get a third match between Hangman Page and Bryan Danielson?
I don't think we get it right away.
Mm-hmm.
I think the judges were kind of the red herring, because when you open the match with it, or open the show with it, and you set it up knowing they just had a 60-minute draw, the judges and everything, and it's going to lead you to believe it's going to get close to that again. And okay, what's going to happen with the judges? Blah blah blah. Last week, if you'd asked me who the judges were going to be, I could have gave you 2 of the 3, because The first two that came to mind were Mark Henry and Paul White.
Oh, what? Yeah.
Jerry Lynn, I barely know him, so
Other than his famous
I
bouts
didn't
with
watch
RVD,
ECW
right?
back in the day.
Oh, you don't know
Right.
Jerry? Oh, well then. Speaking of matches,
Yeah,
Greg, you need to go back and watch RVD and Jerry Lynn because those matches were, I mean, they were really pretty good bouts. Like especially for a TV title that at the time almost surpassed their heavyweight title for a little bit. So, anyways, sidebar.
Gotcha. Keep that in mind. But yeah, it leads you to think, okay, they go another draw, what's going to happen with the judges? And this way, it's kind of a surprise when the match ends under the time limit and ends with a clean finish. So, banger of a match, as good as the first one. And, now this puts Hangman as legitimate champion. He successfully defended it against the most dangerous challenger, and he did it clean in a great match. So I can see another match happening down the road, but I don't think we're going to have it right away.
Who should be the next challenger for Hangman then? Because I don't know. Like maybe Adam Cole. I mean, Adam Cole technically is the I get and that you do wonder, are the winner of the?
I had to take a look at the rankings.
I think Adam Cole's number one right now.
I know they mentioned Adam Cole.
Yeah.
I think if maybe they said that on the show.
And maybe the Owen Hart winner is the finals taking place at Revolution, or no? Or they might be taking place at Double or Nothing. If it's Double or Nothing, then obviously we'll have somebody before then. But if they're doing Revolution, maybe you could have that winner take on, Hangman down the road or something. But right now, Adam Cole's position as number one. So, some other stuff, Greg. So, MJF was out there going against Captain Shawn Dean. CM Punk came out there. He knocked out Shawn Dean, which gave MJF a loss. And then, Punk and MJF went back and forth. MJF saying, I'm going to main event WrestleMania before you, which Punk was like, whatever. That's fine. You do that. So, but this is going to lead to CM Punk and Wardlow next week. By the way, Wardlow defeated some guy named Zambrano. Didn't really matter because we are seeing the kinks in the armor, Greg. You have Shawn Spears trying to take all of Wardlow's glory. So I wonder if Wardlow loses next week, and then that really starts the train rolling. Maybe Shawn Spears cost the match, and you just have Wardlow take out Shawn Spears,
right,
and then go after MJF. So I'm going to assume we get CM Punk and MJF at Revolution, which is in March, but I feel like there might be still enough legs to kind of keep it going till March. So what do you think, Greg, about all that? I kind of threw out a few things there, but CM Punk, MJF, have at it.
Yeah, it was a fun angle because I think last year MJF maybe only lost one match the entire year. Mm-hmm. If he lost the match, don't check him in, but it was. I feel
like he hasn't, or maybe he hasn't been pinned in singles matches or something like that. I think they were touting.
Right. And so now having Punk come out, screw with him in his match and cause him a victory is a great way to pour more gasoline on the fire with what they've already done. So It's like we were saying when this whole rivalry started, give me more MJF and CM Punk. Yep. And we are starting to see, calculating Punk start to come out instead of, happy Punk all the time and finding ways to one up his opponents. And you keep stretching this out without them having to touch each other yet. Just on the mic and getting involved in each other's matches. And it's still gold every time you see it. And, when that match finally happens, it's going to be huge. So you can definitely extend this for as long as you want, but pay it off before it gets old.
Yeah.
So, this Wardlow thing right in the middle is a great way to, stretch it even further, because you're going to create another problem for MJF, and then have Punk out in the wings, um, messing with, the outcomes, and it's going to force that match to happen. So March seems like a great way or a great time to pay that off.
Mhm.
And there's plenty of room in the middle for all the other things that are happening around them to manifest in the meantime. And it keeps those two on a collision course.
Definitely. Yeah. And that, I mean, like you said, with them out, or maybe, MJF costs Wardlow the match next week. And that gets Wardlow, starting to really steam. Because he's definitely getting the pop for his symphony of power bombs. And, if he just needs to keep doing that, almost like a Ryback, it almost does feel like a Ryback type rise. Like the crowd is getting into it. And I think he's got a lot more to offer than Ryback. But, it does feel like that slow burn that people are getting into it. Jade Cargill is now our new TBS champion, Greg. She defeated Ruby Soho, but Ruby Soho still gets kind of back in the women's title picture. I wonder if maybe, Double or Nothing, we could see Ruby really get her moment there. It feels like they're starting to, turn her towards there. But Jade, I hope they make Jade a nice workhorse champion. Jade has had less than 10 matches. I mean, another like Braun Breaker, limited time, but now's the time. If you're going to give Jade the title, I think now you need to have her be that kind of workhorse champion, because I would like to see that for the TBS title be, that workhorse title. So any thoughts on Jade win? I didn't really have any qualms with it. I would have liked to see Ruby win it, but then I think Ruby's headed for bigger things, so that makes sense. Even though, we said all along, Jade should probably be the woman to beat Britt, but this is probably a good way for Jade to just get some more ring wear in her, keep having smart Mark be her mouthpiece and let her talk when she needs to. But I think the TBS title is good for her to at least get that ring experience under her belt.
Yeah, and that's exactly what I was thinking, is that she looks the part. She, looks like $1,000,000, and she has the it. She has the athleticism, but she's still really green. There's a couple times in the match where she doesn't look like she's 100% comfortable with where she is or what she's doing, and even the finish to the match was kind of botched. When she actually got the pin, so she kind of screwed up the finish. But this is why she needs to be a workhorse champion, because she needs to work through that. She needs to get time in the ring, in front while the cameras are rolling, not just in practice, but she needs to be working 24/7 and in front of that camera every week and getting the work in, because that's what's going to make her better. That's what's going to, calm her nerves and get in there with women who are more experienced than she is, more talented than she is going to make her better. So, same way Heyman being in the same ring with Bryan Danielson is making him better, because we know Bryan Danielson is better than Hangman, but him being in there and it elevates his star level. So same thing is going to happen when Thunder Rosa is in there with Britt Baker, when she, eventually when she's in there with Thunder Rosa, when she's in there with Ruby, with girls who are on a star level higher than hers, it's going to elevate her level. And that experience is going to help her out a ton. So I wasn't crazy about her winning it, but I get it. It's going to put her and Britt on a collision course, but not for a while. Because you figure Jade's going to be comfortable and happy with having her championship, Britt on this level, and Britt's, obviously at this level, and they're not going to cross paths very often. And then, um, you'll get to that moment where Jade wants bigger things, but not anytime soon. So maybe this time next year, or someplace down long off in the future, you can. But for right now, you start setting those divergent tracks now, so that they meet way down the road. And by that time they get to that divergent path, then Jade is ready, and you have a banger of a match.
Yeah, and even if you have Jade pick up some wins over like jobbers, like that just gives her that she'll start looking dominant as TBS champion. Maybe not do it quite like Cody did with the open challenge, but maybe she could do that every few weeks or something like that and have a little bit of a bigger challenge for her. So it makes a lot of sense, I think, for her almost to treat it like an IC title. See where you're at, get you ready to be groomed to be that big champion. So, and then we also saw Malachi Black defeat Brian Pillman Jr. We saw Julia Hart in the ring. The lights went out for a minute. It really didn't matter. That seems to be, that also happened in the Jurassic Express Lucha Bros. So you wonder, Greg, if, I keep saying, give me another House of Black member. And I've heard Brody King, who is one of his tag team partners back in the day, I heard he's coming on the way, or should be coming on the way. So that could be why it keeps happening. But there needs to be some, you keep talking up this house, but you don't have members. You just have, you. It's a very lonely house. It's a bachelor pad. It's not quite a house yet, Greg. So, and even that little right. Promo where he did the mist into somebody, I thought that would be who, I almost thought that'd be Julia. Like I wonder if they might turn her, a little bit, but we haven't seen that yet. So I hope that the House of Black gets some members, and I think they need it. Yeah.
I was thinking the same thing.
Go ahead real quick.
I was thinking the same thing that, we haven't seen Julia for a couple weeks, and they're going into this match. What if Pillman comes out alone, and then at some point we see a figure come out, and it's Julia all in black, and that signals her transformation. I thought that would have been cool, but see her come out with the eye patch was kind of a letdown. Unless
still her ring gear.
Unless it ends up with her. Yeah. Just no pom-poms, no cheery, just standing there mopey. So
it could still lead to it, I guess.
There's still room for that to happen. Yeah. I mean, that could be like the poison going into the system that turns you evil. Maybe that's it.
Well, because remember Malachi's eye, like it gets worse as like he's gone on. Because remember, he just did the little black eye contact. Then he started having some eye makeup, and now it's that whole gray. So you could still do that whole, like Alexa Bliss that just slowly, finally seeps into you. But especially since, like I said, they had that little promo where it was like at the House of Black, and he blew the mist into somebody, which we never saw. Because that could be anybody, because it was just a hooded figure. So, but Greg, I thought you wanted to talk about the Lucha Bros, because unfortunately Rey Fénix took a hard hit. That did not look pretty at the end of that match. And I think that kind of messed up the ending of the match, because I think the Lucha Bros were going to retain. I really do. And then then also the lights going out, and they went up to the, the balcony, and you saw Malachi Black. I wonder if that was going to be something more. But Jurassic Express, Greg, are our new tag team champions. And we got to give a congrats to them, because they have carried, they've really come up to a really strong crowd support. People love them. I'm still waiting on Christian to turn on Jungle Boy, which I believe is going to happen at some point, probably after they lose it, but because I think Christian and Jungle Boy is where you want to go. I think, to give Jungle Boy that next, keep, adding those notches in his title belt or his belt. But congrats to Jurassic Express. Hopefully Rey Fénix is okay. I think he said there's not major damage, but I mean his arm literally went back. I mean it was like that And of course, everybody on Twitter is like, oh, look at this. We're going to replay it 5,000 times for you. But hopefully, they can kind of still, and then this might be good though for your guy Pentagon. He might be able to do some single stuff though in the time being, Greg. So, a blessing in disguise, but hopefully Jurassic Express could kind of carry the tag titles, probably, maybe through Double or Nothing. And then I still think Proud and Powerful. I think that's where we need to go next. They've deserved it. They've earned it. And, them being kind of separate from Jericho, I think they kind of need that to get them, to the top of their games. So go ahead and unpack that tag. And what a surprise, by the way. This is where AEW is kind of weird. You had the TBS title, Greg, defended kind of in the middle of the night, but you're on TBS. So why would you not have ended the show with that? Especially, well, now we didn't. Now, like I said, I wonder if there was more that was supposed to happen, and maybe the Ray Phoenix, they had to call an audible and just kind of, end the night. But it is still weird product, match placement. Like you're debuting on TBS, you're having the finals of the TBS title, you have two of your top women in the TBS title match, and you put it in the middle of the night. But like I said, maybe there was something more that was going to happen in this match. So that was a sidebar. I had to get out of the way real quick. But Greg, have it. Unpack Jurassic Express, win the tag team titles for us.
Yeah, like you, I understand it. Of course, I don't like it. The Lucha Brothers were, killing it. Everybody loves them. And that being said, it was a great match, as you would expect these two to have. And I saw that Ray Phoenix has a broken arm now, which hurts my heart because you know how much I love that guy. So get well soon, Ray. But it was a fantastic match. I'll give Jurassic Express their props. The Lucha Bros did have a good run with the championships, some good matches in the meantime, and I'll know they'll be back, better than ever once Ray's arm heals. And in the meantime, I hope it does help propel Jurassic Express. They're already super over. Everybody loves Jungle Boy. And it does take him out of the singles title picture organically. Otherwise, it would be eventually be calling for him to get a title shot. So I think he and Luchasaurus need to, hold on to the belts for a while, just to let the other title contenders play out. I understand why it was all being done, and yeah, I think with Ray breaking his arm, it did cause things to be, cut before it was supposed to, which is why he had the, kind of roll up finish that they did. So it is what it is. It happens. I think a couple of spots were unnecessary. I know every match they want to have a table spot, but it seemed out of place in this particular match. And I really hated that whole everybody holding hands in the middle to do the little springboard arm drag thing.
That's
it
a
looks
Young
cool,
Bucks
but it
thing.
had made no sense.
It's just so choreographed too. Like,
Is that what that is?
You might, that's probably their influence because I feel like the Young Bucks do that a lot. But it is one of those things where, yes, we know it is a choreograph. It's a scripted thing, but at the same time, like you said, it's the old when they're all waiting for the person off the top rope, and they're all just standing there, like or how many tope super C or tope how many of those
Suicidas.
Yeah, that used to be a drinking game because I feel like every match had one of those there for a little bit. So yes, but that little I'm like, okay, get to it. We know what you're doing. Like move on. So Hey, at least it wasn't a flaming table
Yeah.
spot, Greg. By the way,
good point.
Mr. Cody Rhodes has come out to say that was a dumb thing he did. So maybe 2022, Greg, is the year Cody Rhodes is starting to get it because, yeah, he said Anthony Ogogo, they did that wrong. And he said that he did not need, well, he said that was a dumb thing to do. He's like, yes, we wanted to make it different, but at the same time, just because you want it to be different doesn't mean you need to, do a flaming table spot that never called for a flaming table spot. That, that rivalry never had, to juice. But anyways, so yes, best wishes to Ray Phoenix because that looked ugly.
Yeah. And it's like you were saying with the whole match order, because there's not many things I say WWE does better than AEW right now. I'd have to sit back and think about it, but one thing they do better than AEW right now is show that this is the champion show. Yeah. When you watch SmackDown, it's the Roman Reigns show. There's no doubt who the champ is, who the man is. It is his show. On Raw, no matter who the champion is, the focus is on them. Yesterday or Monday night, it was the Brock Lesnar show. Yeah. You see him at the beginning of the night, you see him at the end of the night. They talk about him during the night. Same thing when Big E was a champ, when Lashley was a champ. Doesn't matter. You know who the man is when you watch the show. AEW is not doing that. And not just the Hangman era, but the Kenny era. They were a little better with it at the beginning with Jericho and Moxley, but they really don't put the focus on who the champion is, which is what they should be doing. I didn't like them putting Danielson and Heyman at the beginning of the night. I mean, I get it, start the night off hot, but you got 2 more title matches that you could start with, and it's gonna. I think it would have had the opposite effect of, okay, we got this title match, we got this title match. Now we're gonna see the championship. As if you're watching a classic pay-per-view, and starting off with the world title being defended with Heyman, you have time to forget that by the end of the night because you just had, a women's title match and then the tag team title match, and it makes the tag team title match seem like a bigger deal than the world title match. And I get it. It could go an hour, and you're gonna have the judges be involved and everything. We have to block off that time, whatever. But for one, this is TBS. Everything starts 5 minutes after the hour anyway. So if it goes over the top of the hour, so what? This is what usually happens. Everybody needs to know whose show this is. This is the Hangman show. Hangman's the World Heavyweight Champion. The show should be centered around him, but it's not. And they need to do better, regardless of who's champion, of make sure that everybody who watches knows beyond a shadow of a doubt, this is the show of Hangman, or this is the show of Kenny. This is, whoever the world champion is, that's who the focal point of the show needs to be, and it's not. So I wish they would do better on that and give more focus on the champion, so that, because the champion's the face of your brand. And, if you tuned into this show half an hour in, you don't know what the champion looks like. Mm-hmm. And so that's what everybody should know. And that's one of the things that WWE is doing better than AEW. So I hope they can fix that. And like I said, I would get them putting on the highest profile match at the beginning of the night, but I can also see that being a problem. You wanted to go off the air with your champion raising his belt and that being the lasting image. I think that is a greater effect than leading off with it.
Well, heck, we didn't even get to see Hangman celebrate. I was going to bring that up. The time frame, it seemed like they wanted the most time for the end of the night, and Hangman holds up his title and then rolls out of the ring. Like he didn't even have time. Then they cut to a commercial or something like that. And the same thing with Jade. Like Jade was out there celebrating, and then it was like a video package next or something like that. So it is funny how they make use of their time. Like I don't know if they, and obviously, you're only year 3, so you're still trying to maybe figure out, what team. Or well, now you're starting brand new on TBS. Some of you are trying to figure out how much time you can allow. But it did seem like they wanted the most time to go to that tag team title match. And like you said, I understand it because they want to show that their tag team scene is better than WWE. So, but like you said, but is that at the dip or I'm trying to look for that word. Is that hurting your champion, your main champion? Because you're showing that your tag team titles are main eventing. Yes, that's good because WWE doesn't main event tag team titles that often, or if ever. I think RK Bro did once or twice, but I think they still got to work on timing of stuff, and like you said, and I think they will go back and think, okay, we should have done this match at the end, but it doesn't matter because it's in the past. But I was surprised because Hangman wins, and then he didn't even get I don't even think he even held up his title. He just had to roll up the ring. It's like they were running behind already or something like that. It just felt like they were off time-wise. So, Rampage happened as well. Some stuff there, Greg. Adam Cole defeated Jake Atlas. Jake Atlas of the NXT frame, and I think he's part of the CWC, cruiserweight stuff. Unfortunately, Jake Atlas is already injured. He got injured in his second match. I think that was taped a couple of days ago. So we'll have to see if Jake Atlas can come back soon. But I think they did mention that Adam Cole is now the number 1 ranked wrestler on AEW. So you wonder if him and Hangman Page will kind of go at it sooner rather than later. Hook defeated Aaron Solo. Hook keeps getting the love, Greg. How about Ruby Soho and Riho defeating Britt Baker and Jamie Hayter? This is leaving into Battle of the Belts. But, Greg, we're seeing Jamie Hayter and Britt, that crack is starting to form. So I think it's best for Jamie to move on. I think we've kind of talked about this before, but I kind of bypassed the first 2 matches, Greg. But if you want to kind of catch up on those or give your thoughts on Britt Baker and Jamie Hayter, kind of breaking the foundation there, and probably best for Jamie to kind of move on from there.
Yeah. Great match between Adam Cole and Jake Atlas. I mean, he showed us a lot more than he was able to in NXT. And this was a great match. We're all wondering what we're going to get from Jake Atlas, and he brought it. I felt bad for him, getting injured at the end of that match. So I hope he gets better soon because it was a bummer that it had to end that way. You can tell, Cole called an audible at the end, just doing the soft kind of heel hook kind of finish, so he could tap out. And I think he was trying to tell him what to do by just kind of putting it in, wrapping his arm around his ankle, and just telling him tap so he can get out of the ring. So I felt bad for Jake, but if this match is any indication, he's going to be just fine when he comes back. Hook, holy crap, dude's super over. They're cheering for him. They need to find a way to, capitalize on it. Of course, you got Taz in the booth talking him up, but you need to, set up the catchphrase already. People on the outsides with the Sin Hook signs. Loved seeing that. He's already got a little merch shirt out, but I was thinking something along the lines of Jericho when he used to do the list, and he's in the ring with somebody. You know what happens when you do this? You know what happens? You know what happens? You just make the list, and Taz could do something along those lines, and then the tag is Sin Hook, and there's a way to do that, and you to get the whole crowd, going Sin Hook. It could be one of the hottest catchphrases by the end of the year if they do it right. So, Taz, get on it. Ruby and Ruby match was good, but it's laying the foundation for her getting into a program with Jamie Hayter, so that she's kind of falling upward by losing the TBS championship and ending up in the program with Britt Baker. So
Yeah.
It's a chance for her to get a rematch with Britt, especially since Jamie Hayter is the one who cost her title match with Britt. So it's coming full circle right there. So I like that happening. And I definitely agree with that. Santana Ortiz, they put in their time. They've been there since day one, and they should definitely be the next team up to challenge Jungle Boy Luchasaurus. And it looks like at the same time that the Pinnacle and the Inner Circle are fissuring and kind of breaking apart. And it's probably not by accident, but they need to be set loose on their own and allowed to chase the tag team titles. It's what fits them, and even turning heel and going up against the Jurassic Express. I think that would be cool. And they're
What about
already
the
doing
Jericho
an image change
Kingston
with
stuff?
the painted faces.
Jericho and Kingston. I'm not really looking. I don't think they're going to match up well. I think the mic time will be fine. I don't know about the ring work. Like Jericho has brought up that he wants to bring the painkiller back, that gimmick, from New Japan. So maybe that does it, Greg. But for me, I don't like the pairing of them as a feud. Do you?
I'm reserving judgment on it just because
Until it happens.
you can definitely see that's where they're going.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to just the mic time by itself because Eddie Kingston is going to have a load of material to work with.
And that's true.
And plus you have the wrinkle of Santana and Ortiz, Jericho's boys,
Also
caught in the middle. Right, we were also Kingston boys, so you got them caught in the middle, and just those promos are going to be fire.
Yeah.
The match, I agree with you. I think Jericho's at getting near that point where it's time to hang it up. Love you, Jericho, but just go to the announce booth and chill. You don't have to prove anything else. So it's going to be an interesting rivalry, especially if they, just do it on a street fight level and not try to have like a 5-star match. It could be fine, but it's going to be curious to see how they work it.
And that's probably more like if they can do no disqualification, just let the bats fly and all that. Okay, I'll probably buy into it more. But like you said, Jericho in a wrestling clinic, and Kingston's not. I mean, he can wrestle. It seems like when he wants to, but I think he's kind of moved past that too. I think he's just as fine with that. Well, Greg, unfortunately, we are all about breaking news, and so I like to use my producer hat to look on Twitter for news, and this came across the wire just now. Because speaking of Sasha Banks, she's not released. She's not released, but she did suffer an injury that she could be out 6 to 8 weeks. So if that time frame is right, that would put her out of the Rumble. I mean, because the Rumble is 2 weeks away. 2 weeks away. So, nothing. It says nothing broken, but a bruised cowlet. I don't know what that is. Something bone in the foot, I would assume, or maybe ankle-ish area. So, but so that would put her out of the Royal Rumble, but still on a path to WrestleMania, and I would think. Whatever she might do. But, we could never break good news on here, apparently, Greg. One of these days, I'll just find some good news and I'll just break it. But anyway, so she is out for the time being. Hopefully she'll do okay. I think we'll do one more. Well, no, we'll do the Battle of the Belts. So far, from what I'm seeing, I'll bring this up real quick now that I have to get out of that. I really need a producer for this show and not myself, but that's okay. Boom, boom, boom. All right, so this is what I've seen so far, Greg. Let me know. Now, what's funny is you look at this picture, and this picture's already out of date. I understand, because Sammy Guevara is no longer the TNT champion, and Lucha Bros are no longer champions. But whatever, this was made. So what I'm reading is they're going to do like quarterly network specials for TNT for AEW. So this is their first one, Battle of the Belts. Cody Rhodes has tested positive, or close contact, or he's out. So now they're doing an interim TNT title match, which I think is kind of dumb for me, because I don't think Cody Rhodes will be out that long. Like Roman was already back.
Yeah.
So I can't imagine Cody Rhodes. But Greg, we're going to get Dustin Rhodes, Sammy Guevara. I almost feel like, could it be Dusty Rhodes to win, and then we get another Cody Rhodes, Dustin Rhodes match? I don't, or do we get Sammy? Either one of these guys will win. They'll either win. But I don't get why we're doing an interim TNT other than you needed it for this Battle of the Belts. By the way, Greg, it is in your neck of the woods, right? Charlotte, North Kakalaki.
That's right. It's in Charlotte.
Are you making it?
It's my city right now. I'm in Charlotte. Probably not. I'm trying to find a way to get out of work, but it doesn't look like it's going to happen.
Yeah, I was going to say you would have decided
if I could get out early, absolutely. But
North Carolina.
No, I don't think it's going to happen.
Greg?
Dustin
Rhodes, Sammy Guevara. Who do you got winning?
Well, now I got to take Sammy. There's no way I believe that Dustin Rhodes can beat Sammy. So it sets up. Well, they already had a match coming in, but it keeps Sammy as the number one contender. Mm-hmm. Very UFC of them doing the interim title, and I guess the only way of them maintaining the integrity of the Battle of the Belts event is to make sure there's a belt on the line. So I guess that's the reasoning for it. But Sammy definitely wins, and when Cody's back, they can pay it off.
I mean, I would assume maybe this is like an hour-long special. Maybe that's what, because there's only 3 matches announced, and we already saw Hangman and Bryan duke it out. I think they both need a week off. You just had Lucha Express, or
definitely
Jurassic Express, kind of combined there. Jurassic Express just win. So, we won't have that defended. Britt Baker all the way, Greg. I mean, there's no doubt that Rio's not winning.
Yeah.
Maybe Jamie Hayter plays another part in this. I think that's the only juice I have in this match. I don't really this just seems like, okay, whatever. Like, we are playing up that Rio has always beaten Britt. Britt hasn't beaten her, but this is Britt to win. And then we got an FTW match because, that is a title match as well, Greg. Ricky Starks is going to beat Matt Sydal. I mean, there's no rhyme or reason to it.
Yep, agreed.
Okay.
I didn't even know Matt Sydal was back, so.
So this is
I
our
will be
battle.
calling the airports, waiting for them to come back.
Yeah, this is our Battle of the Belts. I mean, like we said, if we would have,
exactly. Kind of meh.
Who is Cody gonna face? Was he gonna face Sammy Guevara in a rematch?
Cody was gonna face Sammy.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're going to do Battle of the Belts, don't you need all the title? Like, you need all the titles on the line. But I guess that would almost need to be a 2-hour show, and maybe then we have an hour.
Right.
Like, it feels like to me it's going to be an hour show, and that's why we only have these 3 matches. Maybe some promo. Maybe Hangman throws out a promo just to kind of do that. But and if they're quarterly specials, it'd be kind of fun, I guess, to see what the next one. I think they are doing Beach Break in the end of January, live from Cleveland. Because Greg, when I need a beach break, I think the sandy beaches of Cleveland, Ohio. Now, what does intrigue me, though, that is the home of Mr. Johnny Wrestling. Yeah. You know, maybe you pop out the baby real quick and just show up real quick, or you know. So yeah, that could be something for that, but I don't know if
I was
Jerry Lawler.
Thinking a Johnny, but a different. No, I was thinking of Johnny, but a different Johnny.
Manziel
is Moxley ready?
Oh yeah, because they did announce Moxley. They did announce Moxley is going to defend his U.S. New Japan title, I believe in February-ish. So you wonder if he's getting. Yeah, I guess that would probably be a good time to bring Moxley back, or maybe Moxley could be in the bypass Adam Cole and go against Hangman if they bring him back. So this kind of Charlotte, North Carolina, sorry, you're kind of getting a little screwed on the Battle of the Belts here. I don't know if this is this doesn't feel like a Night of Champions-esque type,
no, it doesn't.
It doesn't. Yeah, this feels like a house show, and they're just going to televise it. I mean, kind of like WWE's done with what did they not Clash of Champions? They did something else but anyways, it was like a house show special. So, I would assume Sammy wins, Britt wins, and Ricky wins. But it just is weird that you're doing an interim because, like I said, I don't think Cody Rhodes is going to be off that long. I mean, maybe a couple 2 weeks at the most, 10 days, do you need to? I mean, we've had champions out longer than that, and they didn't defend it at that time. I mean, Nakamura defended his IC title once in a month or in months. So, but anyways, so, all right. All right. Well, that is the show we got for you, Greg. And anything else you want to close the evening or the day with? You have how your Chargers, are they win and go in tomorrow? Because I know my Colts are win and go.
It is, and that's the thing is that there's been a lot of stupid talk, stupid. I know it's bad to use that word, but it is stupid in the sense that the thing is if the Jags beat the Colts,
okay,
then
that's where the tiebreaker.
The Chargers and the Raiders could tie. And both teams would get in.
So somebody joked, why would they not just
people are talking about it.
Just down it every
right.
time.
And people
there's no way.
As if the Chargers and the Raiders would ever agree to do anything that ridiculous.
I mean, would any NFL
even
team,
on TV, they're talking about it.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Would any NFL team
they're talking about
agree?
It as if it's an actual possibility.
Yeah. But
to take a tie. Yeah. So
our 15-point favorites, which really scares the hell out of me. Because you know what that means? That means the Jags are going to kick a field goal at the end to win the damn game. Josh Scobie will probably come out of retirement and, somehow screw us again because that's what they do. So, but anyways.
Right, and they haven't won in Jacksonville since 2015, I think is what they said.
2014.
So,
which is kind of funny to say because I think the only player from that team would have been T.Y. Darius Leonard is recent, Quentin Nelson, Carson Wentz, Jonathan Taylor, DeForest Buckner, it's not even the same, that's not even the same team. But it is worth noting because you still haven't won down there. So, So this is pretty much a bad. So if we win,
I need your
and you guys win, that would be 4th and 5th. I'm guessing 4 and 5 seeds probably. Because we have
so I need the Colts to just go ahead and take care of business.
Yes.
And then my Chargers can go into Vegas. Exactly. And we can get all this stupid tie talk out of because there's no way, even if the Jags won, that the Raiders and the Chargers would ever agree on anything,
I wonder
much less
but what happens
tying a game on purpose.
I guess if they do tie in general, then they just have to look at tiebreakers. If the Colts win and you guys did, let's just say tie because you were just duking it out in overtime, and I'm guessing tiebreakers. That would be quite the finish to the season. You tied, and then you got to look at tiebreakers, or just flip a coin.
Well, the Chargers would have the tiebreaker because this would be 2 wins in a row. or the season sweep of the Raiders. So we already had the upper hand there.
Okay.
So both our teams get the win, and
yes,
both our teams getting the show.
Because right now, I think it
scenario.
is the Packers are the only lock seed right now. Like everything else is up in the air.
That's true.
Like all the AFC, nobody seeds. And then did you hear this come out, Greg? Apparently, Boomer Esiason got a text from a source saying Aaron Rodgers is possibly talking about boycotting the Super Bowl if the Packers were to make it. Can you see anything like that ever happen? I mean, I know Aaron Rodgers is a kind of a D-bag, so I almost want to put it past him.
Like say a jerk.
But I'd be like, apparently that came on the Boomer Esiason show. They were talking about it, and he gave the text to a producer guy. He's like, yeah, you can read it. Now they didn't say who it's from, but Boomer Esiason was stating that it's a pretty reliable source that Aaron Rodgers has possibly talked about, boycotting the week or maybe the week leading up to the Super Bowl. I can't imagine him boycotting a Super Bowl. Like that would be, you talk about just a, like, why in the world? I mean, and then we don't even need to do we even need to get into the Antonio Brown saga, Greg? Because that thing, you talk about taking a life of its own. And then people, I don't know if you saw him on on Instagram, or he was on somebody's show yesterday, and he just had his feet up like this, just kind of like sitting, hanging out, and people were tweeting out like, if your ankles hurt, like, shouldn't you be taking care of that? That thing. I'm surprised WWE is probably going to be calling to him. He's got a personality. He's obviously got a chip on his shoulder. He's athletic. I mean, he won't have to take, NFL hits. So, we haven't seen football play. Well, we did see Gronkowski win the 24/7 championship that one day. But anyways, so yes, we are off the rails as always. So we need to join the Dukes of football because we could talk them up. I'm guessing for Super Bowl, we'll be invited to that show because Super Bowl is always a big night for that. So, and then we'll of course invite them on for WrestleMania.
Nice.
Invite everybody that we got. So, anyways, enjoy your work day, Greg. Stay safe out there. I know airports can be a busy time and crazy time. As I've watched airline on back in the day, A&E used to have an airline show, and man, the ticket takers, they used to get shit on all the time. I felt bad for them. So anyways,
it hasn't changed, I promise.
Oh, I'm sure it's worse.
It has not changed.
Yeah. So that was a fun little reality show I used to watch.
Yeah, I'll be roaming the halls around the time that this Battle for the Belts is going on and seeing if there's, because they know they don't stay for the whole show. As soon as their match is over, they're out of there. Yeah. So hopefully I can get a picture with somebody before the night's over. Hopefully Britt Baker come on through.
Watch out, Tony Schiavone will come after you. I mean, Adam Cole. Sorry, not Tony.
So, hey, you want to upgrade the first class? Come talk to your boy. I'm just saying. I'll mark out for him.
I bet you fly first class. I don't know. They are kind of cheap. They might fly coach. They might fly a coach because they probably want to save on ticket prices. So, but anyways.
Yeah, I've we'll go Chargers. Penelope before, so.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Yeah. Before he had the box on his head.
And now. Yep.
Before the new gimmick.
And I will be at the Wednesday Dynamite.
Oh, is that in?
So
where's that at?
They're going to.
Asheville,
they're going to Raleigh, my hometown.
Raleigh. Okay.
On Wednesday.
This coming Wednesday.
And so that would be a full Dynamite. Yes, this coming Wednesday. So I am going to that.
Okay, good.
So I'll have a eyewitness report next weekend.
Awesome. And then Raw's coming back on Valentine's Day. I'll probably get tickets for that because I'm not a Valentine's Day person. So That's another podcast topic. So, anyways, I strongly
We need to find you a
dislike
Mrs. Stephen A.
I try to get Brit, but yeah. No. Yes, a Mrs. Stephen A.
Hey, get in line, buddy.
Hey, I met her first, Greg. I got the picture to prove it. Remember last year? I got my one up.
Great.
And Ruby. I got a couple.
That's true.
I got a couple of the ladies on the line. So
I know. I got to work on that.
All right. Well, have a good one. Go Chargers. Go Colts. Go enjoy Battle of the Belts. And
yes,
we'll
sir.
talk to you guys next week.